Hi everybody, today I'm going to be making a butternut squash risotto, which is perfect for fall. Pumpkin gets all the glory during the fall, but I love this recipe because it's really simple and because I just love butternut squash. It's such a beautiful color. It has a really mild flavor, so your kids probably won't object to it, and it can kind of take on the flavors of the other things that you're cooking it with, and it's just a great way to add some vegetables into a really fancy rice dish. Now, risotto typically has a lot of fussy steps to it, but I have found this recipe that while it's not short, it's not a 30-minute recipe, it is very simple, very easy to do, and I have never messed it up, even at my most distracted moment. So I've started with one whole butternut squash. I've peeled it and cubed it. When you're peeling butternut squash, I really like to have one of these Y-shaped peelers. It just works really well for pulling the peel off. Butternut squash is kind of difficult to peel because it's tough and it rolls and it's a little bit slippery. And so I like having one of this type of peeler for it. So I've got my squash in my bowl. I'm just going to drizzle it in a little bit of olive oil. And I've also got a salt and herb blend here that I'm going to put on it. We want to season it at every step. We'll just give that a toss. And then I'm going to put it on my cookie sheet just in one single layer. We don't want it stacked on itself. And I'm going to put this in a 450-degree oven for about 20 minutes. The squash should be nice and soft after that. You might see some dark browning on some of the pieces, and that is exactly what you want. Once your butternut squash is nice and roasted and very soft, you can just take a fork or a potato masher and just start kind of mashing it up. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's going to go back in the oven. It's going to get even softer. We're going to mash it, and then we're going to put it in our pot with some broth and our arborio rice, and then put it back in the oven. Once my squash is all mashed up, you may see some darker places where there's a little bit of char on there, and that is okay. Just leave it in there. It's going to soften up nicely. To my big cast iron Dutch oven here, I'm going to add a 32-ounce box of chicken broth. You could use vegetable broth if you want this to be vegetarian. But I like the flavor that the chicken broth gives. You don't want to use cold broth. So if you had a larger box and you're using some leftover broth or some homemade broth and it's cold, heat it up a little bit first. And to my broth, I'm going to add 1.5 cups of arborio rice. And then I'm going to put in my butternut squash and just give it a quick stir. Now I'm going to pop the lid on this. I'm going to put it in a 350-degree oven for 45 minutes. So you can just put it in there and set your timer and forget about it for about 45 minutes. After 45 minutes in the oven, your rice should be just about perfectly cooked. And to this, I'm going to add about 3 tablespoons of butter. I'm also going to add some more of this salt and herb blend and some sage. It'll be really great with fresh sage right at the beginning as well, but we're going to use dried today. And I'm also going to add some Parmesan cheese. And I've got some white cooking sherry. This would be great with white wine, a dry white wine if you've got that. Or if you don't have either white wine or cooking sherry, you could just add some more chicken broth or vegetable broth. That will be just fine. As you do this, remember this is a really hot pan, so keep your hot pad handy for your stirring. And then we're just going to stir this all together. It should come together and the butter will melt and the cheese will melt and it'll be nice and creamy. And there we have butternut squash risotto. Next time you're looking for a fall side to go with pork roast or some chicken, try this butternut squash risotto.
We hope you enjoyed this video as part of our Oklahoma Gardening YouTube channel. You can also find even more videos on the OK Gardening Classics YouTube channel. And join us on social media for great gardening tips, photos, and discussion.